What's up, everyone? Good morning and welcome to our Water's Edge Sunday morning online worship experience. Thank you so very much for choosing to spend the next few minutes with us today. For those of you that continue to invite people to our live and in-person services every single Sunday at 9:30 and 11:15, or for those of you that continue to like and share our online worship experiences with your circle of influence, thank you so very much for doing that. Continue to do that. We have people tuning in and showing up all the time from all over the place, getting help with their heart and their life and their faith and their circumstances and their relationship with Jesus Christ. Also, for those of you that continue to worship with us online through a very beautiful and holy and sacred way to worship, and that's through giving and generosity, maybe by meeting our new $10 challenge. John 3:16 says, "For God so loved the world that He gave." When you love God and when you love God's church and when you love God's mission for His church and the community, then you want to give back to God and you want to give back to God's church and that mission. And so when you worship with us through giving and generosity, what you allow us to do is help more people, feed more people, love more people, serve more people, shelter more people, minister to more people, and show our city and our community the body of Christ and the love of God. All right, so today we continue with our current series called Puppets, and this entire series is about this. It's about answering this question, and notice this today: what is pulling the strings of my heart? Is it my faith or is it my distractions? Now, like I've told you, you and I work very, very hard to only show people what we want them to see. We work really hard to manage our outside, but we rarely take it a step further and work on the real us and work on our heart. And so the purpose of this study is to get us to this place in our life and in our faith that says this about our life, and notice this. This is the real me, the me that has not been altered or covered up or enhanced or filtered to make me look different than who I really am, just so I can seek the approval from the other people in my life. But now here's the real issue. There is that one part of us that needs to be checked. It needs to be filtered. It needs to be monitored. And that part of us is the real reason behind why we do what we do. And that part of us is our heart. The other day I was looking at Instagram and I saw that somebody I followed posted a picture of their new shoes. And I immediately thought to myself, I want some new shoes like that. And then I saw someone else post a picture of their vacation to Universal Studios. And I thought to myself, I want to go on a vacation to Universal Studios. And then I saw someone else that I follow. They posted a picture of their brand new truck. And I thought to myself, it sure would be nice to have a new vehicle. And then someone else that I followed posted a picture of their lunch, their fajita nachos. And I thought to myself, I want some fajita nachos, man. That would be awesome. I want those new shoes. The problem with social media like that is once I saw that and I saw everything else that everybody else was posting that they had that I didn't, now I find myself trying to convince myself that not only do I want what they have, but I need what they have. I need those new shoes. I need that vacation. I need those nachos. So then what do? We start posting pics, or we start talking about our own cool shoes, our own great vacations, or our own super tasty nachos, or our own brand new vehicles. Why? Because of envy. We envy the lives of other people deep down because we're not content with what we have and we're restless on the inside. Look at how fun I am. Look at how fun I'm having, because we also want other people to envy us. That's why we start posting and talking about all the things that we have. We secretly envy the lives of other people and what they have that we don't, and deep down we secretly want the other people around us to envy our life. Look at how fun, look at how cool, look at how prosperous I can make my life look on social media. My life is not really like that behind the scenes, but you'll never know that part of my life because I'm only going to manage my outside. I'm only going to show you in the world what I want them to see. I envy you, and I think it would be so cool if you would envy me right back. Envy can be a very toxic emotion that pushes us around and controls us like a puppet. And that's why during the rise of social media today, we also see the rise of personal relationship problems. As social media rises, we also see the rise of mental health problems and emotional problems. Every day we're bombarded with images of other people's lives, and we stay so nose deep in it that this is what we allow envy to do to us. We stay so nose deep in social media media, observing everyone else's lives and everything that they have that we think we don't have. We stay so consumed with it that this is what happens to us. And notice this today. If you're still with me, say I'm still with you. Envy always causes us to fall into the trap of comparing our life to the lives of other people. We start to secretly envy someone else's freedom that they have, maybe as a single person. We start to secretly envy someone else's relationship that they have with their family or their spouse because you don't feel like you have that type of relationship. We start to secretly envy other people's stuff and other people's groups of friends. We start to secretly envy other people's homes and other people's jobs and other people's life, and we think, I want a life like that. I want a relationship like that. I want freedom like that. I want a house like that. That's what I want my life to look like. And then that envy and that discontent causes this unholy restlessness to grab a hold of our heart and to grab a hold of our soul. And that envy in you causes more problems. Now you start to feel restless, and now you start to second guess and have problematic issues with your own thoughts, with your own emotions, with your own relationships, with your own heart. And then once you've fallen into the comparison trap because of your envy, you learn this lesson, a very important lesson, and this is what it is. And remember this today and notice this. There is no win in comparison. There is no win in comparison. Now notice how King Solomon, the wisest person to ever live, the son of King David, notice what he says about this issue of comparing your lives to other people and the trap of envy. Ecclesiastes chapter 4, we pick up in verse 4 through verse 8. Notice what he says. Then I observe that most people are motivated to success because they envy their neighbors. But this too is meaningless. It's like chasing the wind. Fools fold their idle hands, leading them to ruin. And yet, better to have one handful with quietness than two handfuls with hard work and chasing the wind. I observed yet another example of something meaningless under the sun. This is the case of a man who is all alone, without child or a brother, yet who works hard to gain as much wealth as he can. But then he asks himself, who am I working for? Why am I giving up so much pleasure now? It's all meaningless and depressing. Now, notice a few things about this amazing, beautiful passage and a very confronting passage that really sticks out to us right away. The first thing is this. Wisdom says that comparing, envy, secretly wanting what you don't have that other people have, or competing with the lives of other people, not being content with your life, is just like chasing the wind. And the reason why it's like chasing the wind, because the other people, their lives that you keep comparing your life to, you're only seeing a false version of their life. You're only seeing what they want you to see. You're not seeing their real life behind closed doors. You don't know their real struggles. You don't know their real battles. So if you think you finally got the life that you thought they have, even though they don't even really have that life, the life that you thought they have was a filtered version of their life. So even if you think you catch it, you're still chasing the wind and catching the wind because it is not real. And so the other life that you're so envious of isn't even real. So if you catch it, it's just like chasing the wind. And in verse 8, Solomon talks about an example of a man who's asking two questions. This man works really hard to become extremely wealthy and successful. And so because of that, he says at the end of his life, he doesn't really have meaningful relationships. He doesn't really have a meaning to his life. And the first question he asks is this: who am I working for? And I would say that in our life, when this toxic emotion of envy fights to control our heart, we should ask this same question, but in a different way. And this is what it is. And notice this today. If you're still with me, say I'm still with you. Who am I really trying to prove something to? With this rat race of you trying to get the life that you think other people have because of envy, and you're trying to get other people to envy your life too by impressing them, who are you trying to prove something to? Envy and comparing your life to other people will not only cause your dissatisfaction in life to increase, but when envy causes your dissatisfaction in life to increase, this passage says that your depression starts to increase, and this also damages your current mental state, your current emotional health, your relationships. So really, envy makes you work really hard for no payoff. It's all vain. It's all meaningless. Envy makes you work really hard for no paycheck. It's all meaningless. It's like chasing the wind. The second question he asks is this: why am I giving up so much enjoyment in my life right now for this envy chase? We could ask that same question in a different way, and notice this today. Why am I letting envy rob me of the satisfaction of what is actually happening in my life right now? Listen. Trying to keep up with the lives of other people through envy and comparing yourself to them will absolutely rob you of the love that's in your life right now, of the relationships, of the people, of the friends, of the provisions that are in your life already right now. So stop letting the trap of comparing your life in envy to other people ruin the great things, ruin the great people, ruin the great love, ruin the great relationship with God that you have in your life right now, because it'll absolutely ruin it if you keep chasing after the wind. Because again, even if you catch the wind, what have you caught? You've just caught the wind. Now, in light of all that, I want to give you a few practical applications to take home with you today to help you live this out in your life. Because remember, discipleship is not learning more about the Scripture. Discipleship is putting it into practice in your daily life. So the first thing is this, and notice this today. Envy causes us to compare and compete with others in a very unhealthy way. In this life, when we finally feel like you're winning, I can afford more stuff, I can have more friends, people are looking up to me, people envy me, that just makes you arrogant. And pride always comes before the fall. But when you feel like someone else is winning in life more than you, to the point to where you envy them, what does that do to you? If you're always focused on how you think they're winning in life more than you, what does that do to you? It makes you sad. It makes you discouraged. It makes you feel like you're chasing after a meaningless life. And that makes your depression increase. It robs you of happiness. It robs you of contentment. It robs you of your faith. The second observation is this, and notice this today. If you're still with me, say I'm still with you. Envy is triggered by the temptation to compete in your heart. And who is it that you're internally competing with right now in your life? Right now, there could be, because of envy, this internal competition that you have with someone else in your life. Maybe you don't even realize it, but it's happening. Are you doing it with a coworker right now? Are you in this competition with your ex right now? Is there this competition with another parent, a friend, another couple, or family, or so on? This is how envy affects you. Not only does it cause you to compromise your devotions to other people who love you, but it also turns you into a very selfish and inconsistent, unfulfilled individual. Listen, one of the joys of following Jesus is fulfillment. Let me say that again. One of the joys of following Jesus is He brings contentment and fulfillment to your soul. I may lose everything tomorrow and everyone, but I still have Jesus. And by the way, the most obnoxious people in the world are people who are always trying to outdo and compete and envy other people. Let me say that again, and I will not apologize for it. The most obnoxious people in the world are those people that are always trying to outdo and compete with and envy other people. Our next observation is this, a very real life one, and notice this today. One way to decrease envy in your life is to make a habit out of thanking, celebrating, encouraging, and promoting the blessings in the lives of the other people around you. So you get no vacation time this year, but they get 3 weeks off. Your car breaks down, but they can afford a brand new one. You lost your job, but they just got a promotion. You have to work all summer. They get to go on 2 amazing vacations. You just got diagnosed with a disease, and they have perfect health. Want to defeat envy? Celebrate with those people. Don't compare your life to them. Thank God that those people are experiencing a great season in their life right now. Thank God for that, but don't get jealous of them and do not envy them. Find your fulfillment in Jesus even as you go through a difficult season. When we follow Jesus, life is not about comparing and competing with those around you. It's about loving those around you. Let me say that again. When we follow Jesus, it's not about comparing and competing with the people around you. It's about loving those people around you. Let me tell you this story, and then we'll be done, and we'll have an amazing time of worship with the amazing Water's Edge Worship Band. Not too long ago, I knew this young man, and him and his family fell into this envy and comparison trap. It was about 8 years ago. He was a friend of mine. He was a very devoted mission worker. He was always traveling to other countries and doing humanitarian work, bringing food, bringing water, bringing medical supplies, clean water, real good practical stuff. And on one of these trips, him and his wife met this other couple who were very, very wealthy and very successful. When they got back from the trip, I noticed that they had started spending a lot of time with this other couple that was very successful and very wealthy. And I would hear our conversations, and it almost sounded like he envied their life. This other couple that was well off, they were great people. They lived a very genuine life of faith. The problem wasn't with them. The problem was with my friend who got close to them because he began to envy their life. And I remember having a conversation with him about how he wanted to get some side business going so he could have more freedom and so he could make more money, because he thought if I do that, I could have more time doing my humanitarian mission work. Long story short, he tried. He had some luck. He had some success. He built some wealth. He made money, and then he wanted to make more money and more money. After that, I watched his mission and life change. When I first met him, his life was all about the mission of serving people and helping people. But because of envy, it moved into competing and comparing and just getting more stuff. Eventually, he got so busy with the rat race that he stopped doing missions and he stopped doing humanitarian work. And let me just say this too. Eventually, because he got so caught up with his business and trying to get more stuff, that he eventually became an alcoholic to deal with all the stress of it. And he pretty much lost his family. And he pretty much lost half of his businesses. And right now he lives alone today, very unhappy, very unsatisfied. The people around you, don't imitate them. The people around you, don't conform to them. Don't be jealous of them. Don't compete with them. Don't be envious of them if they have a life that's different than yours. Say, Pastor Tony, how do I defeat this negative, toxic battle with envy? I'll tell you how. Celebrate them. Even if your life is going through something difficult and their life is amazing, don't envy that. Celebrate that. Thank God for how they're going through a great time in their life. And I'll tell you why. Because competing with them is a trap and you'll never win. And it's just like chasing the wind. It's all meaningless. And at the end of the day, we find our fulfillment and contentment in a relationship with Jesus Christ. Thank you so very much for hanging out with us today and tuning in. Now continue to stay tuned in for an amazing time of worship with the amazing Water's Edge worship team. We love you all. We hope you have a great week, and we cannot wait to see you back next week.